She cooked cheesesteaks. She made a 2-ingredient dip. She interacted with her dogs. And somewhere in between all of that, she mentioned warrants, the DA, a probation officer, Bullhorn Betty, Seth Rogers, and Dog the Bounty Hunter, all in one live stream. On June 28th, 2026, I'm CramaReels. Let's get into it. Now, this first moment is easy to miss. She's mid-cooking, talking about her ingredients, and then, almost casually, she drops this.
And also, Chips, I will see you on the 14th. I will be in court with Granny. I'll be there to support her, so I'll see you there, girl.
Quick, casual, almost like an aside. She's attending court on the 14th in support of Granny. File that away, because by the end of this stream, the legal conversation gets a lot less casual. About 42 minutes into the stream, she explains why she stopped doing cooking live streams altogether, and she places the blame squarely on one person.
So essentially, why I stopped doing these kind of lives was because Bullhorn Betty incited people, and I got fucking health inspection reports made against my business, saying I was cooking in the kitchen without gloves on. That I had cats on the counter. I don't have cats, dude. So, nice try, motherfuckers. Also, it's illegal to cook for a business in Pennsylvania in your house. Like, it's illegal as fuck. Yeah, my own food, dude. Yeah, I had a fucking Department of Agriculture health inspection report made against my business. With the exact same language that fucking cunt face decided to say on her life.
So let's be clear about what she is claiming here. She says that Bullhorn Betty made statements on her own live stream, and that those statements were then used, nearly word for word, in a formal Department of Agriculture health inspection report filed against BBQ Lady's catering business. That is a specific allegation. She is not saying someone filed a complaint. She is saying the complaint used the same language Betty used on stream. That is a claim worth noting. We document. We don't editorialize. But we do note. Now we get to the segment that is going to do the most talking for itself. She's wrapping up the stream. She mentions an upcoming meeting with her attorney, and then things take a turn.
Tomorrow, I'm going to have a nice little follow-up update meeting in my attorney's office. That'll be great. I know some of you have seen my Twitter post. There is obviously some activity happening with some foul people on the internet, because you cannot go and do the things that you do, especially if you're in active litigation. So there is a retaliatory crime code against people with civil matters, and I am absolutely taking the matters to the police, the DA, my local police department, my attorney. There's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I feel very confident to say now that there is being a warrant being executed. Now, I don't want to say an arrest warrant, but that's all I'm going to say. So, there is a warrant of some nature, and you know what?
A few things to unpack there. First, she references a retaliatory crime code that applies specifically to people who take action against someone involved in active civil litigation. She says she has brought this to local police, the DA, a criminal investigation unit, and her attorney. Second, and this is the part that raised eyebrows, she states directly that a warrant is being executed. She then walks that back slightly, clarifying she does not want to say arrest warrant before landing on and I'm quoting, a warrant of some nature. Third, she names Nick the Hat specifically. She references his parole status. She tells her audience explicitly not to make any calls because, she says, his probation officer is already aware. That is a significant set of statements to make on a public live stream. We are not confirming, denying, or speculating on any of these claims. We are documenting what was said, when it was said, and by whom. She then pivots to the broader true crime commentary community, specifically Seth Rogers, and the circumstances surrounding his involvement with a missing child case.
Seth did his live tonight. It was very telling that finally he has come to his senses and he has come out and said that he is done working with At Night. And it's really fucked up that these people came out to the internet and latched on to a true crime case, a missing child, and have done nothing. Does she ever say anything worthwhile? I don't think so. I have my opinions about it, but I'm going to keep it to myself and I'm going to keep it with my attorney. So, yeah, honestly, it is sad what they did to Seth. Honestly. Listen, I'm allowed to have an opinion about Seth Rogers, okay? I need a cigarette. I'm allowed to have my own opinion about Seth Rogers, okay? I never defamed him, threatened him, or anything. Everything that was spoke on about him was already put out publicly by himself. Or an opinion. And just like everybody said, you cannot sue people for criminal RICO claiming that you don't like somebody's sarcasm. Yeah. Crazy. I wish that At Night and Dog the Bounty Hunter would have never gotten involved, because I truly believe that what they did, what they pitched, has caused a lot of people to stop engaging, spreading awareness and whatnot. And that's really sad. At the end of the day, there's people with a missing kid. There's parents with a missing child. And that is absolutely sad. And I have said this all along. Innocent until proven guilty. But people are allowed to have their opinions about behaviors, and that's mine. My opinion about him, is mine. But what At Night Media, Nick the Hat, Hong, Dog the Bounty Hunter, what they all did is fucking wrong, dude.
A couple of things stand out here. She notes that Seth came out on his own live stream that same night and stated he is done working with, and the sentence trails off, but the context is clear. She frames this as him finally coming to his senses. She also takes a moment to address her own prior commentary on Seth, stating that everything she said was either already public or was clearly framed as opinion, and that you cannot pursue criminal RICO claims over someone's sarcasm. That is a direct reference to legal framing that has circulated in this community. She then names At Night Media, Nick the Hat, Hong, and Dog the Bounty Hunter as people whose involvement she believes caused others to disengage from spreading awareness about the missing child case. Her words, documented. BBQ Lady's livestream aired on June 28, 2026. On that stream, she named Nick the Hat by name. She referenced his parole status. She referenced his probation officer. She told her audience not to make calls because it was, in her words, already being handled. Approximately 22 hours later, Nick the Hat posted this on X. We're not drawing conclusions. We don't need to. The timestamps speak for themselves. Receipts don't argue. They just sit there. That's the documented record of BBQ Lady's June 28, 2026 livestream. The segment's relevant to ongoing community conversations. As always, this channel exists to archive, document, and present what was said publicly by public figures on public platforms. If you found this useful, you know what to do. I'm CramaReels. I'll see y'all in the next one.